Alright guys, the play-in is officially over. There were good moments, there were bad moments, and there were some great moments. Starting off with what might be the only game in the play-in that mattered. Warriors v Grizzlies. If any team has a shot of making it out of the first round, it'd be the winner of this game. After all, both teams had 48 wins, and in any other season, that earns you a ticket to the playoffs. I mean, the Warriors could have landed the 6th seed had they beaten the Clippers in their last game of the regular season. Regardless, we're in the postseason, and that only means one thing. Playoff Jimmy has once again been resurrected, and he's ready to cause some trouble. Only this time, the defense is more focused on stopping Steph, giving him even more opportunity to cause mayhem. And my oh my, did he cause some mayhem. First of all, this man does not shoot threes. When he tries, he usually fails, or at least regular season Jimmy. This is playoff Jimmy, and playoff Jimmy always finds a way. Butler can facilitate an offense at a high level, so even when Steph is sitting, the Warriors can have very productive minutes. And ultimately, the team was a +9 when Curry was on the bench, and Jimmy ended the game with 38 points. What has been a weakness for the Warriors is their size. Despite having a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Draymond Green, he's basically their tallest player at only 6'6". So Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey were supposed to dominate the paint, but they were not able to capitalize on this, ultimately leading to the Warriors' victory. So that brings us to the Warriors-Rockets series. This will inevitably be the best series involving a play-in team, so I'm going to go a little in depth here. The Warriors ended up taking game 1, and there were a lot of takeaways from this game, starting with what worked with the Rockets. They have the size and physicality to really disrupt the Warriors' playstyle. They ran the double big lineup with Sengun and Steven Adams, and ended up getting 22 offensive rebounds compared to the Warriors' 6. Sengun was a monster in the paint, putting up 26 points and 9 rebounds. And the Rockets overall did have a great defensive game, holding the offensive powerhouse Warriors to under 100 points. Outside of Jimmy and Steph, the rest of the Warriors only scored 39 points. So what went wrong? Well, the Rockets could not hit a shot for their lives, especially from half court. Any points that they could get were basically from the offensive rebounds of these disastrous shot attempts, with Sengun or Jabari Smith putting up second chance points. Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet sold so hard, they combined for an impressive 7 for 47 from the field. Steph looked vintage to say the least, hitting critical and difficult buckets time and time again. Playoff Jimmy continues to cook, and Draymond had a great game defensively, but the rest of the players were honestly looking pretty mid. Quentin Post and Kevon Looney simply could not rebound over the size of Houston, each only getting 1 rebound. Podziemski, of all people, led the team in rebounds, getting 7. So if the Rockets are going to win this series, they're going to need to hit their shots. Houston's not known for their 3-point shooting, but going 6 for 29 from 3 is not going to win you a series. Golden State, on the other hand, should focus on getting more of their players involved, so they don't have to completely rely on Steph and Jimmy. This is going to be a good series, guys. Let's hope it goes to 7. In the battle for the 8th seed, the Mavs were able to have an easy victory against the Kings. AD was looking dominant and Klay came to shut the haters up, but this could not hold up against the Grizzlies. Despite AD having a monumental game, the Grizzlies' whole squad came out to play. Ja, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all put up 20+ points and ended up sending these boys home. I'd say the biggest highlight of this game was the camera constantly panning over to Nico Harrison and him side-eyeing everyone the whole time. Either way, both these teams would have gotten swept by the Thunder, and my oh my was game 1 of that series a massacre. The Thunder had the biggest game 1 blowout in NBA history, dominating the Grizzlies by 51 points. The Thunder look scary as hell, man. They play with pace and they don't give their opponents any time to breathe. As soon as they made a morale-destroying stop on the defensive end, they'd push the ball up too fast for the Grizzlies to handle, and then they'd score again. And this is pretty much how the entire night went. Now with the rest of the mid-offs in the East. I'm going to breeze through these since there isn't really much going on here. The Bulls played exactly like how you'd expect. Kobe White and Josh Giddey could not hit a shot if their life depended on it, and Patrick Williams was out there just doing cardio. But on the other side of the court, Tyler Hero turned into prime Steph and rained threes all over these poor souls. What's also cool is that they're the first 10 seed to make the playoffs. I mean, that being said though, they're probably going to get swept by the Cavs, and game 1 in this series showed that this is looking to be the case. The Heat honestly looked pretty good in this game, pretty much sticking with the Cavs for the first 3 quarters. But the Cavs have 2 All-NBA guards and the Twin Towers, so it's going to be pretty tough to hold on to them for the whole game. And the 4th quarter is really what makes or breaks a team from being a play-in team versus a contender, and the Cavs proved this to be the case.
Mitchell catch and shoot as he pulls from deep.
It's to come, but Strus, I've got to think Strus has got to be coming back in this ball.
First ever playoff meeting between these two franchises. Jerome, he connects on another 3-point jack.
Then we had the Hawks and Magic. This was a nightmare matchup for the Hawks going into this game. The Hawks are a team that pretty much rely on their offense and 3-point shooting. But the Magic's defense is not to be messed with. They basically had the size advantage at all positions, and they have the best perimeter defense in the league. You know, I was a little disappointed to see Trae Young get shut down. He usually loves to step up in these biggish but not massive moments. He didn't have an awful game by any means, but when the rest of the team can't step up, he needs to have the game of his life just to keep the game close. To put this into perspective, the Hawks bench got outscored by the Magic's bench 57-30, and this was pretty much the same story against the Heat. If Trae Young is ever going to make it deep in the playoffs again, he's going to need some help. But in his defense, the Hawks did have some major injuries in Capella and Larry Nance, but these guys are not going to get you to the promised land. And that brings us to the final playoff matchup for these play-in teams. We have Magic Celtics. Game 1 of this series was absolute ass. Both these teams love to use the whole shot clock to put a shot up. Tatum and Brown played like garbage, but with such a stacked core as the Celtics, someone's always going to step up. And that's exactly what Derek White and Jrue Holiday did. Despite putting up only 103 points, they still outscored the Magic by 17. This postseason is going to be sick, guys. We're already seeing some crazy moments. Let's see what's to come. Hooligan.